everybody, and welcome to today's holiday Make It and Take It. My name is Kim. I am a community learning specialist with Do Space, and today we are going to be making something really fun. We are going to be making what is called a kinetic snowflake. So this is an example of what we're going to be making today. So, hopefully, if you're watching this, you have picked up your kits from Do Space, and you have the things that you need to follow along to make our fun kinetic snowflake. So, first off, I'm going to really quickly talk about what that means. What is, this obviously looks like a snowflake, but what does kinetic mean? Does anybody, I don't know, want to share what you think kinetic means? That you can do so in the Twitch chat. Let me know what you think. But yeah, what does kinetic mean? So basically, kinetic means if I blow on this again, I guess what is this doing? It's moving, right? It's in motion. So kinetic basically means something that is in the act or is in motion. So a lot of times we think of, maybe if we're a little bit older, you may have learned about kinetic energy, potential or kinetic energy. And kinetic energy is energy that is in motion. So if you think about a ball that is stopped, that's potential, so it has the potential to roll, but a ball that's rolling has kinetic energy. It is moving. So that's kind of what we think about with this. And then kind of what makes this kinetic is that all the parts are kind of like independent from each other, so they don't have to be moving the same way. So this is just like a fun holiday decoration that you can have out all year long. Maybe if you have it, you might be able to put it somewhere that might have access to wind, like a porch or something. Although you might want to take it down if there's like a really crazy storm, because if you're coming at us from the Nebraska area, you know how windy it can get. So, but yeah, this is what we are going to be making today. So I am going to move my camera down so that you can see all of our materials and see how we are going to be making this today. So I am going to move that out of the way, and we're just gonna, my Zoom has decided not to work. So anyway, zooming in the old-fashioned way. So if you are making this with us today and you have your kit, these should be the items that should be in your kit. You should have the pieces of your cardboard kinetic snowflakes. So you should have like a large piece, kind of a middle-sized piece, and then maybe a small piece, and they should all kind of fit into each other like that. You should have a what's called a tapestry needle. It's just like a really long plastic needle that we're going to be using. You should have 3 beads. Ooh, my lighting is not great. Might really quickly change up my lighting a bit just so it's a little bit easier to see. Better. Let's see. And then you should also have like a little nut like this guy. So hopefully you have all of those things. Oh, and a piece of string. You need a piece of string. So those are the items that you are going to need to make our kinetic snowflake today. So we are going to get started with that. So the things that you're going to need today, and I'm hoping that people can see. I think I might have gone funky on Twitch. Let me see. Let me just make sure that things are going okay. Might be having some technical difficulties, friends. Let me give me one moment. What I might do because I think I'm having some technical difficulties on Twitch. If you're coming at us from Facebook, you might still be able to see me. But I think I'm having some technical difficulties on Twitch. So I'm going to stop streaming really quickly and then start streaming again. So you might have to like pop back in. Or if you're on Twitch, let me know if you can see. I don't think you can, because when I'm on it, it says the video is unavailable. So this is what I'm going to do, friends, for our viewers following us from Facebook. I'm going to end this really quickly and restart it back up. We got this, right? Okay. See you in a second. Okay. Let's see if we're back up on this. Okay, I think we are back to being good. Okay, so these should be the items that you need. I'm going to redo those for maybe our friends that are following us from Twitch. So you need your cardboard snowflake with your 3 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, your big piece, small piece, and a little piece. You are going to need give me one moment. I'm going to adjust something really quickly maybe. Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay. So we need our 3 pieces. We need our 3 beads. We have our 3 beads that we need. You need a tapestry needle that is going to help us with our threading today. You need a little bolt, which is going to kind of anchor down all of our pieces, and then you need a piece of thread. So those should have been all the items that were in your little packet that you picked up from Do Space. So we are going to get started. So the first thing we're actually going to do is we are going to thread our tapestry needle. And so basically this should be fairly easy considering our string is pretty small and our tapestry needle eye is pretty big. So we're just gonna, you should be able to pop that on pretty easily. And you want to pull it a good, 6-8 inches, just because as we're pulling our thread through our cardboard, we don't want the tail to like go loosey-goose, like kind of get pulled and then undo everything. So you want to keep a fairly long tail if you'd like. And then what we're going to do is we are going to start out with our first bead. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to kind of like wrap our bead a few times with our string. So you can just like you should be able to put your tapestry needle through your bead. And so if you just pull, you just want to kind of, what we're going to do though is like, I've already pulled it through and I'm basically going to come around and go back through the same side I just went through. So just like this. And what that's going to do, it's going to kind of wrap our thread around our, needle. While this is happening, you might want to move your cardboard pieces because like I just did, our thread likes to kind of get tangled up amongst the snowflake parts. So then when you do that, you can kind of just like, and so you can kind of see maybe that I kind of have like it wrapped around, and I'm going to do that one more time. So again, I'm going to bring it around and I'm going to put my thread through the same side through the first 2 times. So essentially I am just like wrapping this around, and you kind of have to pull hard because the eye of our needle is just a little bit bigger than the whole of our beads. So we're going to have to do a little bit of holding. And you want it so that it's maybe, I wouldn't say halfway, but basically my thread is about like maybe like a third of a way, maybe halfway through. We want basically at least a good enough tail, because on the tail that we're going to, we want one side shorter than the other. So I have one side that's longer than the other side. So my short tail we are going to kind of leave that loose because we are going to be at the very end tying and looping our bolt around it. We're not going to do that quite yet. So you should have then your long end, and I need to rethread. I'm going to rethread my little tapestry needle. And so now we are going to start kind of constructing our kinetic snowflake. So we're going to start out with our biggest piece. Now, you might think like, okay, how, like you might think there are, you know, you can go on any side, but this is made out of, I have laser cut all of these pieces out of our laser cutter, one of our laser cutters, which is pretty cool. And I have cut this out of what's called corrugated cardboard. And if you, basically, if you look on the edges, you should be able to see there's like stuff in between the two layers, the two outer layers. And it's kind of hard to see with this camera, but there's going to be like, some might be a little bit wavy, and then if you look at one side, you should be able to see it straight through. So it should kind of look like, again, I can't, so basically you want it to be like, almost like a wave. So there, if you are looking at the sides, at the edges, and if you can't see straight through your edge, then you don't want it to be, you don't want to be threading. There should be an edge that if you look straight through, you can see all the way to like the table or whatever behind you. And we want that because that's the edge we are going to be threading through. And the nice thing about it is that we are going to be doing that for all three pieces. There should be two. There's going to be one, basically our, we're going to be going straight down. So it doesn't matter really which side you do. You could either, we just don't want to do like a wavy one and then one that like one you can see through one. And you'll know because if you try and stick your needle through, you're not going to be able to get it all the way through. It would go through at an angle, and we don't want it at an angle. We want to be able to go straight through. So we want to find, and it doesn't matter which side you go on, but we are going to be wanting to try and find like as in the middle as you can through our corrugation, because that middle stuff is called the corrugation. That's kind of what keeps it thick and stable as cardboard. And we are wanting to find the hole essentially that's almost in the middle as possible. So everybody's going to be a little bit different. So, you know, do your best to try and find what the hole is. And so I'm gonna find mine, and what you're gonna do is you're basically just gonna push through, and you're just gonna kind of pull through, not both sides. You're not gonna go through the next side over. You're just gonna go through the one side that you just went through. And you're gonna kind of pull a little bit, and you wanna basically, I mean, you can pull it all the way until your bead comes like that. I'll move these other beads so it's not as confusing. So you can kind of see, but you just want to try and get it through the middle. Mine might be a little to the side, might be a little uneven, but that's okay. Hopefully you got yours as in the middle as possible. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to actually bead through our next bead. So we need your second bead, and the nice thing about our next two beads is that you don't need to do the twisty or the kind of the wraparound. And this is where I suggest keeping the outer cardboard, your biggest piece of cardboard, as flat as possible, because like I said, our thread is going to want to get like wrapped up against all of these teeth and edges, and it might get a little bit crazy. So try and keep it as flat as possible. That I have found that is the easiest way. And so you're just going to again pull your needle, and again it's a little bit tight, so you're going to have to kind of push it through, and that's just going to rest then right there. See how it just rests just like that. And then we are needing then our middle piece, so our second to largest piece. So again, we are going to be looking for the corrugation that you can see all the way through, all the way through. And so we are going to, I'm going to find the middle as best as I can. You can even kind of see, even as I like doing like this, you can actually see, even on both the top and the bottom, how you can see all the way through. And that is what we want. We want to be able to see all the way through. And so again, I'm going to find the hole that seems like it's the most in the middle. And again, we're only going to be going through one side right now. Only one side. I'm not going through the second side. You can see how my needle is kind of coming up. I'm not going through that second side, so I'm just going to, and then you're just going to kind of pull it tight. And basically, it's going to eventually going to be kind of like that. And it'll straighten out once we get everything threaded. Okay, and then we need to go through our last bead. So again, pushing it through our last bead. Gonna come there. And then we are going to get our littlest, our smallest piece, and we are going to want to find that edge that we can see all the way through the corrugation. And we're actually, this is the piece that we're going to go through both sides. So we are wanting, you're kind of wanting to find the middle, as much as the middle as you can. Might be a little bit uneven, but that's okay. And you are actually wanting to go through both sides. So as you can see, I am going to be pushing this needle through both ends, just like that. And this is why it's important to have a good tail for your thread, because I just lost it. So I'm going to rethread it. Okay, make sure I have a nice good tail. And then I'm just going to redo that. Okay, because when I pulled it through, I didn't have any thread. Boom. There we go. So then it should look something like this. And so now what we're going to do is we are now going to thread through our middle piece and our biggest piece all the way through. So, so again, you're going to want to kind of find the most middle hole that you can. So you don't want it to go too far to the left or right, because when you tighten everything up, then your edges might hit the edges of either the smaller or bigger piece, regardless of which one it is. Oops. And this is where it kind of gets tricky, because we got to make sure that our thread doesn't tangle. You can even just see how now my middle piece is kind of twirly. And then we're going to do the same to our big piece. Again, trying to get this in the middle as possible. Okay. Ooh, and this where it could get tricky, because you can see how my thread, sometimes everything kind of wants to get tangled up, so be kind of careful with that thread. So then it should look something like this. So I can already tell, I think on both, oops, Oh my goodness, I'm even losing some of my tail down here, which is fine, but I'm just going to pull this down a little bit. There we go. I may have not gotten exactly, I may have even gotten not enough in the middle on both these ends and the big one. So my middle guy might not twirl as well as I like. I mean, it's still kind of twirly, but it might get caught every once in a while, which that's okay. But you can see now that everything is in motion. So basically all we need to do next is we're gonna take our short tail, the tail that should be below our bottom bead, and we're gonna take this little bolt and we are going to basically do the same thing that we did to this one. We're just gonna wrap it around it. You can do it with the needle, but obviously the circle and the bolt is big enough that you don't really need to. So you can just kind of push it through and just wrap it around. I'm gonna wrap it around again. And I might do it just one more time. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just tie a square knot with the end tail to the top, because I kind of have a tail below it, and then the string in between the bead and the bolt. And I'm just going to do a couple of square knots like you were tying a knot in a string. I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna pull this up so I'm a little bit more better in frame. And I'm just gonna, I can just put it on its edge like that. Stands up really nicely. Oop, I say that. And then I'm just gonna do a nice little square knot just so it doesn't move. We don't want it to move on us. So I'm just gonna do 2 square knots. You might, if you have a grown-up, this takes some pretty good, because this string is pretty thin. It's pretty good thin string, because we needed some thin threads or string, so we didn't, and I'll talk about that actually in just a second why we needed that, but because it's so small, it can be a little bit finicky, so we might need, if you need help with a grown-up to do this, that's okay. Okay, so that should keep that in place. So now, if you lift it up, this weight actually keeps the string kind of just taut. And then it should be able to, and it's kind of funny because I'm not keeping it, it's horizontal more than vertical, but you can see how things now are moving kinetically. So the reason, like I said, the reason why we have this thinner thread and this thinner string is because we don't want a lot of friction. So friction between our string and our cardboard is like the rubbing. So like friction is, it's like if you put your hands together and you rub, and you can just like, it's, you know, depending on how hard you rub your hands together, if you do it kind of lightly, it's kind of easy, but if you press your hands really hard together, it's harder to make your hands move. That's friction. So another example is if you had socks on and you maybe were sliding across a smooth surface like wood floors or linoleum floors, you know, tile floors, you would be able to go pretty far, right? Because between the socks and the floor, that floor is really smooth, right? So you would go a little bit farther because there's not as much friction. But if you tried to do that with socks on carpet, you wouldn't be able to hardly go at all because the carpet is so thick and has a lot of texture to it. There's too much friction to go. So that's kind of the idea when we say we don't want a lot of friction between the cardboard and the string, because if there were, then it might not turn as well as it could and or should. So which is why I put in your kit this like thin thread. So yeah, so basically now you have a fun kinetic snowflake. So the fun thing about this is then you can decorate it however you want. I have some different types of markers with me that I can go on for a while, and or I can decorate for a while. I might not do both sides. I might just do one side. So I have just some plain old markers, but I also have what's called paint markers, which are pretty cool. I really like them. The funky thing about them is they kind of have to let them dry. So let's see, I have some, it's called like acrylic paint. So I'm gonna see how that works on one of my things. So because it's cardboard, ooh, look at that. Can you see that? That looked nice. So the nice thing is then you can just decorate this however you want. If you just have regular markers, that's totally fine. I'm gonna try that out. But you can see because it's cardboard, it actually paints and like takes on color pretty nicely. So this is acrylic paint marker. So I'm gonna get out a regular marker because I imagine most people would have just like a regular marker, just like a Crayola one. But you can see it basically is the same. So, and you can decorate this with glitter if you have any glitter. It'd be fun to make it glittery. Sorry parents, if you're watching and you have glitter, I make that suggestion. But then as a person that, glitter sometimes is my worst enemy. But yeah, you can maybe decorate it with stickers if you have stickers. The nice thing about it, because it doesn't take too long to decorate it, but you can color, you know, the bigger outside piece one color, and then the opposite side you can color a different color. You can color each circle, you know, you could use you know, you go blue, something blue, or you can do, you know, a pattern. That's the fun thing about this, is kind of where you can get creative with your decorating. You can decorate it however you want. And just because it's a snowflake, I know that kind of indicates like winteriness, but you could keep this up in your room or up, I think, all year long, because I think it's just kind of a cool project. And it's fun, especially if it's like windy out, just to watch it, especially if it was like glittery. Or maybe you have some like glitter markers. I know that's a thing. Or glitter glue. That might be a good option, in case you don't have to then deal with the powdery, you know, the powder of glitter, of traditional glitter. You can still get the glitteriness of glitter glue, so that might be a good option. Maybe you are, I'm assuming if you're watching us and you have this piece, you're from the Nebraska area, so maybe you're a huge Huskers fan. So maybe you want to color it red and black. I'm not originally from Nebraska, so I'm not technically a Husker fan. But red and black or red and white, whatever those traditional Husker colors are. Maybe you're from Creighton. Maybe your family is a Creighton fan and you want to do it blue and white. And these were just the pony beads that we had, and I know are pretty, you know, we could, I just wanted it to be, you know, pretty easy for everybody to have, and especially because the white makes it a little bit easier to see. But if you have different color pony beads, you can absolutely do this again with the, you know, different color pony beads, or maybe you actually already got different color pony beads, and change out the pony beads. So there's just like a lot of options that you can do in terms of like making this your own and customizing it and making it fun so you can enjoy it all year long. So I'm just going to finish up coloring the outside of this. And if you weren't able to, or maybe if things got funky for you, because I know at the beginning things got a little bit funky on Twitch. So if you were joining us from Twitch and you had some issues seeing this, we are going to be, this will get posted on our YouTube channel. So we'll make sure that this gets on our YouTube channel. So, or maybe you weren't able to, or maybe you know friends that were like not able to make it this morning. And they missed it, but we will have this video up again. It should be up on Facebook, and so you should be able to watch it again on Facebook as well, our Do Space Facebook videos. So if you missed how to put this together, and so because, like I said, this is a kinetic, it means in motion. There's a lot of what are called kinetic sculptures out there, and I bet now that you see this, I bet you will see a lot more like kinetic sculptures. So I know a lot of times they're like public artworks, or maybe you want to look up kinetic artwork, and you can kind of see examples of those. There's a lot of really cool examples of just kinetic artwork out there, and you know, it's made out of, I might color in the middle ones too. And you know, they're made out of metal, they're made out of wood, all sorts of different materials. And I might do, let's see, will purple show up? Whoa, hello. Oh yeah, purple shows up pretty nice. Kind of have to get in between my little beads. And so, and it's really, it's almost magical how these sculptures move and are in motion. And so I highly encourage you. It makes me wonder if there's one in the Nebraska, like Omaha area. I feel like there is. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I don't know. Let us know if you've ever seen a kinetic sculpture. They're pretty cool. And then when you're all finished, you know, if you've made our, if you participated in this and you want to show Do Space and the world what you did, post it on our Facebook page, our Do Space Omaha Facebook page, because we would love to see. I think a lot of you also have joined in on our past ones. This is going to be the last. This is the last holiday make and take. And so I know a lot of you made our Buzzy Snowmen and our light up reindeer, and what else was there? There was a third one that I am missing in my head. Oh dear, Buzzy Snowman, this one. I can't think. There's a fourth one. Oh, the ornament, the cross-stitch ornament, which I'm sure turned out great. But yeah, so this is our last one for this series. So this is how mine look. So I can obviously work on the other side, but even just like, you can even just see how cool that looks in terms of how the different colors, how it moves and everything. So yeah, so let us know how yours turned out. We would love to see it. We are going to be, for our Make It program. So some of you might be familiar with our Junior Maker program when it was in building. Since all of our programs are now digital and online, we've changed up our program names a little bit. And so our Wednesday kind of maker series, after school club maker series, is called Make It. And we are going to start doing from now on kind of like take and makes like this. So our January one is all full up already in terms of like how many kits we had to hand out. But keep an eye out for our February kind of form. So we are going to be making a zoetrope, which is kind of like a spinning picture, but it looks like it's moving type thing, which is really cool. So we're going to be making a zoetrope, and then we're going to be kind of doing some other kind of cool circuit activities. And I think I'm going to see if we can make a room alarm. So this alarm will notify you if somebody pops into your room. So yeah, so those are going to be some of the make and takes for Make It in the month of February. So hopefully you can join us in the future for our Make It. That's going to be on Wednesday afternoons at 4:30. So all of our after school club activities for the new year are starting at 4:30. So we're doing it once and at 4:30. So hopefully you can join us for those as well. So yeah, if you participate in this, don't forget to report it on our Do Space Beanstack. If you can find out more at dospace.org, but we have this really cool program called Beanstack that if you attend and participate in our programs, you can say you did it. It gets you a badge. The more badges and challenges you do, the more like little tickets you get, and you can put those tickets towards getting a prize. So like a game, like a board game. Who doesn't love board games, right? So hopefully you go onto our Beanstack. If you haven't already signed up, sign up that and mark the badge that you did our Make It and Take It, Holiday Take It and Make It for our Kinetic Snowflake. And again, let us know what you think and how yours turned out. We hope you had a good holiday season, and we will see you later this week for all of our after school club activities. So have a good rest of your day, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.